Divisional round's over. Good to be back, obviously. I don't know how you have your notes ordered, but let's start with Ravens at Bills. I think that this game, looking back on it, is some interesting coaching decisions, which allowed the Ravens to get back in a position to go down and score, but ultimately the Bills win 27-25. I want you to obviously give your opinion on the game, but I have a few takeaways and then I want you to react to them. Turnovers. This sounds really stupid, but Lamar had obviously turnovers matter. Lamar interception, Lamar fumble, and then obviously the Mark Andrews fumble, which was backbreaking at that point in the game. And then there is a video that I want to show you because I think that something that I saw right away when they ran that play to go for the 2-point conversion, the first thing that went into my head was like they always run that play. And then I went on Twitter today and it actually
three times.
It actually backed up that opinion. And I have a video that you probably saw it, but in case of the audience didn't see it, let me just hide this real quick. Is 3 separate times
time to learn a new 2-point conversion play
where they run this play and it's just not working, and all 3 times is to Mark Andrews. Obviously, we'll watch this play out. And then obviously the last one the other night. Flip it. Got it. Oh, the ball was dropped. Absolutely terrible. Obviously. Very interesting that the play calling down in the red zone when they're going for that 2-point conversion to tie the game up, where that play has not worked for them multiple times, once earlier in the season, one the year before, and they're still so stuck on it. Last thing that I want to say, and then you can obviously take it to how you want to. Lamar Jackson is this generation's Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning had a bunch of All-Pros, MVPs, but was 3-6 in the playoffs and was finally able to get over the hump at age 31. Lamar is 28 years old, about to be a three-time MVP, and is 3-5 in the playoffs. I say all of that because the automatic reaction was to blame Lamar for whatever it was, even though I don't think Josh Allen had eye-popping stats. Lamar is obviously a different player. He was taking chances. He really wanted to win that game and ultimately put them in a position to win the game. So this week, where it was like any talk of Lamar, in my opinion, was just really stupid. And I'm kind of tired of hearing about it, but I just wanted to compare him to an all-time great like Peyton Manning, where I do think Lamar is going to be able to get over the hump. He's going to be very good in this league for a very long time. Take whichever angle that you want and go ahead and do your thing.
All right. I will say, I think the Peyton Manning comparison is pretty spot on. Obviously two completely different players as far as skill set and style of play goes, but they were both super talented guys that just have not been able to, Peyton eventually, but just have not been able to get over the hump, like you mentioned. I don't think it's worth worrying about Lamar Jackson because I think he will get over it eventually. I think he's just too talented of a football player. It's just really crazy how it seems like all of these instances just continue to stack up, and for somebody this good, it sucks seeing them not be able to finally win one of the most important game of their season like this. I will say, I don't think that the Bills won this game. I think that the Ravens lost it. I think that the interception from Lamar wasn't great. The fumble from Lamar also wasn't great. But he did give them a shot to come back at the very end and ultimately tie this football game up. The thing with the 2-point conversion, I like the call as far as it's really weird because I think Mark Andrews is still a solid tight end. And the play, and out of 2 of those 3 video clips that we saw, he was wide open on 2 of them. Like, that's a play where you look back at it and you see Mark Andrews is wide open and has an opportunity to go ahead and tie or win the game. I think you're going to take that 10 times out of 10.
But he can't make the catch.
The second, I know, which is really weird because he can make all of the other ones. I just feel, I know that it hasn't worked, but I still feel good like seeing that play and being like, all right, we got one of our best players on offense, an opportunity where there's nobody around him. Ball's placed right on the money. At least I thought it was a better throw this game than the first clip and the second clip. But I feel like you have to feel really good about your chances in that situation that he's going to come down with that play, with that catch. But clearly it didn't work out that way. But
real quick, and then you can say whatever else you want. I've been completely out on Mark Andrews ever since Lamar threw him a touchdown pass and he volleyball setted it into like the 4th row in when he could have like won the game. So I'm with you, but go ahead, keep going.
That's fair. That's a fair point. But as far as their weapons go, it's either Mark Andrews or Derrick Henry. And like
Isaiah Likely is pretty good.
Isaiah Likely it's weird because it wasn't the same play, but it was like another back-breaking loss type of play. And we saw it like the first week of the season. He caught what should have been the go-ahead game-tying touchdown or extra point. And
it would have been game-winning touchdown.
So maybe it's just like the juju with the Ravens is like they can get all the way down there, but they just can't seal the deal. And it sucks to see because Lamar is so fun to watch. He's super talented. This Ravens team was really good, but you got to be able to come up with plays like that.
100%.
You can't turn the ball over like they did and expect to win a football game, especially against a team that's undefeated at home.
Yeah, and to start your season with a foot on the line by Mark Andrews, where you should have beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead, and then to end the season on a Mark Andrews drop on a 2-point conversion that could have sent the game into overtime absolutely stinks. What I am like very annoyed and tired of is like Lamar throws a pick and then like everybody's like, oh, he's James Harden of the NFL. Like, ultimately, like these players are going to make mistakes. Like, I'd rather watch what Lamar did on Sunday night 10 times out of 10 than what Patrick Mahomes does throwing 122 yards or like 133 yards, or like what Jalen Hurts does where he throws for like 120 yards. Those games, like, I don't care if he's like quote unquote like playing it safe or whatever. Like, I like when the quarterbacks take shots. I like when they're trying to make plays. Sometimes it just doesn't always work out, but I'd rather watch like a style like Lamar Jackson does and it not be fully critiqued by like Twitter and the media and everything like that of him being bad, which makes no sense when there are quarterbacks that are still alive in this playoffs that can barely crack 200 yards on a week-to-week basis. So the Lamar Jackson slander or whatever was just like, I just fully don't get it. He's a 3-time MVP. He's 28 years old. He's going to play football for a very long time. The only thing I do think changes is that obviously Baltimore has to make some decisions with, like, I don't think Mark Andrews is there next year, for example. I think they make some changes on the O-line. I think they make some changes on defense, etc. But Lamar Jackson is still going to be there for a very long time. And that's just, I just have to defend Lamar at this point because I think people calling him like James Harden of the NFL is just like ridiculous.
I mean, I still think that Lamar Jackson is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and this game is not going to change my opinion on that. But I mean, I think it's fair to say that I don't care for the James Harden comparison, but I mean, I think it's fair to say that like he hasn't gotten over the hump, and he's got to win some of these games, and he's got to.
And neither is Josh Allen.
Super Bowl.
Neither is Josh. So, and every single time Lamar plays Josh Allen, outduels him. So I'm I know that it went in the way of like the Bills this past weekend. We'll talk about the Bills next after you get into this because you obviously picked them to win. But like even though Josh Allen's performance was quote unquote like efficient, like he did not do anything to put them in a major position to win this game. He didn't rush for a ton of yards. He made some key plays on third down, etc. He didn't rush for a ton of yards. He didn't throw for a ton of yards. It's not like this performance of them winning was on the back of Josh Allen. It was a good team performance by the Bills. The reason why the Ravens were even to be able to come back into it was obviously the defense made some key plays and put them in a situation where they had to kick a field goal to win instead of going for it, which is fine. But ultimately they were on the 12-yard line. Lamar Jackson goes down, drives down the field, puts them in a position to win the game, puts the ball into Mark Andrews' chest to send it in overtime, and the team didn't get it done for him. So I'm right with you. This is a team game more than anything, but the comparisons are bad, and you can say the exact same thing about Josh Allen. Josh Allen hasn't won shit. So he could, I hope he wins a Super Bowl this year. I pray to God, because if he doesn't chop Mahomes' head off next week, I'm going to freak out. But obviously, like, well, that's a whole nother different conversation, but go ahead with whatever else you have to say.
Yeah, I was going to say that I do think it's worth noting, even though they weren't like significantly like long rushing touchdowns by any means. Like Josh Allen did have 2 rushing touchdowns, but my original statement about this game is where I will stand on. It's the Ravens lost this game. The Bills did not win it. And when it comes down to the playoffs, you have to be smart with the football. You can't have turnovers, especially when you're playing the best teams in the NFL at this point. I don't think the narrative is necessarily fair on Lamar, but he also has to play better than this. I think he played okay, but I think he's got to play better.
I guess that's where we can just completely agree to disagree. I don't know what more you can want out of Lamar in a game like this. You absolutely put them in a situation to at least win. If go into overtime, put them in a position to win the game. Mark Andrews flat lost this game for this team. When he got that ball thrown to him across the middle, I still am trying to like comprehend of why he decided to like take a step backwards and like try to make something miss rather than go forward. It's still like a weird thing in my head when you rewatch that play. He had a lane up the middle where defenders were behind him. He went back and the ball got punched. I thought that was a bad situational awareness by Mark Andrews when I get that you're trying to make a play, but like also like you're trying to survive. And then the drop in the end zone to send it in overtime is just absolutely inexcusable. So yeah, I think Mark Andrews is definitely not going to sleep well for at least the next month.
Oh, I mean, did you see some of the stuff on Twitter?
Oh, dude, we can't say it.
We can't. We can't say it.
We literally can't say it. But yeah, I did see it.
No,
and
it was crazy.
It's crazy. But yeah, I mean, I get it. You got to be mad as a fan when
I agree.
when you had you're in a situation to win the game and somebody like it literally just goes on that one individual. You can't point at anybody else. It's not like, oh, like people were trying to like slow down the film and be like, Lamar, throw it now, like blah blah.
That's
whatever.
Impossible.
You can critique like the littlest tiny millisecond on anything ever. Lamar put the ball in his chest when the ball was in both of his hands. You are a quote unquote elite, one of the league's best tight ends. You have to make that play. No ifs, ands, or buts. Season on the line.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you there. The film critiquing on Twitter is just unbelievable sometimes because it seems like people don't ever take into account. Well, for starters, how fast everybody is in the NFL, i.e., processing speed and reaction speed. Like both of those things at an NFL level are fast, but not as like the reaction speed that you are thinking. It's like probably not as fast as that. You are thinking it's like this the 0.2 second you see it, throw it right away. Like, it's not that easy sometimes. And on top of that, like, it was 6 degrees out. And
Yeah, and windy and snowing and
like,
cold.
correct. Weather is going to play a factor in this game. It was going to play a factor in the game. And it makes it so much more difficult to catch a football, throw a football, hold on to a football. Like, you just have to be very attentive to detail, and even more so when the weather's this bad and when you're playing against great teams.
Yeah, I'm right with you. And obviously we talked about this going in, like, obviously the storyline is the Ravens in this situation, not so much the Bills. They go ahead, win the game, move on to the next round. Something that we said, like, we don't want to see we don't like to see the Josh Allen where he throws the Superman cape on and makes those mistakes. And this game was like the epitome of that. They didn't ask him to do anything Supermanish. They played ground clock control style football. Their defense is extremely tough. You know, McDermott's going to do the most with whatever he has out on the field. I mean, DeMar Hamlin's playing. So shout out to the Bills for making the AFC Championship, obviously. But the big story in this whole situation is obviously to talk about what happened with the Ravens. So, but congrats to the Bills.
Yeah, and every team that won this weekend was outgained by the other team.
Crazy.
So
crazy.
It's I've never heard of that happening before in the playoffs like this.
Do you have anything else that you'd like to add on to this Bills Ravens scenario? Or are you good to move on?
No, I think I enjoyed watching this game. I think this was all that you can really ask for in playoff football, is coming down to the wire like that. Even though Josh Allen wasn't out there, like, absolutely slinging it all over the field, I still think that any opportunity that you get to see Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson play one another, you just got to take full advantage of it.
White clouds blowing out when we max 4-5, not the size, but it could go